It all started for me like 5 years ago. I was in 7th grade and I broke my jaw, and after that I started having issues. I was never quite healthy, but never like that sick that I wasn't able to function at life, and I would go to doctors for all these weird symptoms and things that I was having, and no one was able to make any connection, so we kind of treat the symptom and then move on with my life. And then I started to get what I would describe as like a lot of sinus pressure, and we thought I was having a lot of sinus infections. So we went to like an ENT, and she put me on a bunch of antibiotics and meds, and it just wasn't working, but I was on all of those meds. And I was playing volleyball, and I got a pretty hard hit to the head, and I didn't think anything of it in the moment. I thought that it was just like whatever, I shook it off and kept playing. And then I, for a couple of months, started to have a lot of pressure in my sinuses of just like, we thought were a lot of sinus infections. And then it was January 17th, 2017, and I was sitting in class. I was a freshman in high school, and I had just started my 2nd semester, and I remember texting my mom saying, something's not right. I don't feel right. I was like, I'm sitting down in this chair in this class, and I feel like I'm moving, but I know I'm not, and I had been feeling really sick that day. Just a lot of head pressure in my face, and I was just confused, and so I made it through the rest of the day of school, and I went home that day just feeling really sick. I remember I crawled right into bed, took a nap, woke up, and I struggled through dinner, went to sleep. Woke up the next day feeling miserable, and Mom was like, you know what, just take a day, take a rest day, we'll see, maybe that's what you need, you'll be better after that. And so I did that, and I spent the whole day sleeping. I slept the entire day. I was just in a lot of pain. I was so fatigued, and I just was not functioning well. And I woke up at about 7 p.m. and I was laying in my bed, and I knew that the plan was that I was going to go to school tomorrow. So I'm like, you know what, don't feel good, but I'm going to get up and I'm going to go take a warm shower. Maybe the steam will help with my sinuses. And just I'll just feel better after I shower. And so I sat up, and when I sat up, I did not feel right. I was like, something is very off here. I felt like I was spinning and my room was moving, and so I sat there for a while, and then I'm like, I'm just going to keep trying to get up really slowly. And I went to stand up after I'd been sitting for a while, and I fell backwards onto my bed. And I remember texting my mom, who's downstairs, and she was like, well, did you get up too fast? You've been laying down all day. Maybe you're dehydrated, all of these things. And I was like, yeah, maybe. I was like, I did go slow, but I don't know, what actually was wrong. And so she came upstairs, and she helped me get to the shower. And I remember I sat in the shower, and I took a shower, and I got out, and I still did not feel good. I remember walking back to my bed, holding my mom with one arm, and using the stair railing on the other to get back into my bed. And I was back in my bed, and after that, it was just kind of a downward spiral where I woke up the next day, and I couldn't walk without help, and it just kind of progressively got worse and worse. I was in a lot of pain. My horrible headaches, horrible face and neck pain, just a lot of pain and pressure. And that feeling when I woke up from that nap of spinning, I spun to the left, and that feeling never went away. It never stopped after that first time that I felt it, and it was constant. And so we started to go see doctors, and doctors would see me and they couldn't understand. Sir went to see the dizzy docs, and they thought they had ideas, and then when those weren't the ideas, they were like, well, we don't really know what to do now. And they kind of sent me on my way, and we were all over the place. We went to Mayo, and we went to all these different places, and they would give me what they thought was a diagnosis, and we would try to treat it, and it wouldn't make anything better. And it would be disheartening and frustrating because before I got sick, I was living a good life. I was playing volleyball, I was in AP and honors classes, I was working, I was just really involved in my community, and I was living a really busy lifestyle that I really enjoyed. And I went from that to not being able to walk around without help, and a lot of times I was in a wheelchair because I was just so fatigued, and the constant spinning, I was so dizzy, and my gait, if I tried to stand up, I just couldn't. And so I was like that for about 3 months until we found the Neurologic Wellness Institute. And coming in here, it really changed my life. It was the first doctor that I had seen that whole that whole process of me like being all over the place, that it felt like saw me as a person. It felt like I wasn't just like something they needed to check off their list of like, oh yeah, I saw her, we can send her on her way. It felt like they came in, they spent a lot of time listening to me, and they heard what I was saying, and it was the first people that I felt like saw me as who I was before I was sick and wanted to get me back to that. They wanted me to be the healthy teenager and like live a life that I was living beforehand. So that was kind of how my experience here was. It was just, I mean, they changed my life to where I'm at now, but they would spend time putting together all the pieces of the puzzle with me, and we would sit and talk and like brainstorm and research, and my mom would research and bring it back, and they would research as a team and come back to us. And really it was just a journey that we took together to like figure things out of what was wrong, where things, and we would find things that were wrong, and then we would try to fix them, and I would get better, but not all the way. Just like in every aspect of life, like I would check in, and my mom would, you know, make emergency phone calls late at night if I was struggling. And there was a time that I had to like go to the emergency room, and Dr. Mike, who works with me, like he came and showed up to make sure that like the doctors would treat what we needed them to be looking at, like in that moment, instead of just being confused at like all the other symptoms that I have. And just like little things like that where I hadn't found that at any other place that I'd been to. I mean, we'd driven hours all over the country to doctors who would just tell me that I was crazy or making it up, or that I was just looking for attention, which always is like something that was really hard to hear and something that you never wanted to hear. And I remember coming here and at my first appointment, then like doing all of my testing and scans, and I remember them looking at me and being like, you're not crazy. Like, we see these things that are wrong, and we believe that we can help you, and we're gonna work hard so that we can. And I remember like leaving, and I remember just being in the car and just like crying, because for the first time I've been sick, I finally felt like we had found someone who like saw me and heard me, and like it was like they desired for me to get better too. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm a doctor and I'm smart, so I'm gonna like, you know, this is my job. But it was like they really cared, and they'd only just met me that day. And so I started coming here for like those first 2 weeks every day, and they were treating all different symptoms. At the time, I had really bad abdominal pain as well, and they were able to make that go away in just a couple of days. I struggled with really bad POTS and brain fog, and then also like the dizziness and the walking, and just a lot of symptoms that all put together were really horrible. And I would come in, and they would spend a lot of time every day just not really letting me leave until I felt better. They would fight hard, and we would do things a lot of times in the repetition, and like we would try new things, and we would think outside of the box and try and figure out what works for me and what made me better, because that was the end goal of getting me back to where I'm at now. And it was just like, I've really come full circle. It's really cool to be sitting here in this room, like sharing my story, because I remember like 2 years ago when I first came in and sat on like the table on the other side of the room, I remember like laying down. I couldn't even sit up in the exam room. I remember taking the tests and just being in so much pain from the testing because of how like much I had used my brain. And I remember just like being so tired. And now here I am, like being able to share my story and just like so full of joy with like, I'm 17 years old, and like when I was like, I've come so far in those few years, like I really grew a lot. I was too sick to be in school. I couldn't go to high school. I ended up having to drop out because I was just too sick. My brain, I wasn't retaining anything. The brain fog and the cognitive issues, my brain just wasn't functioning at a level where I was able to do school. And then when I would try to go into school, like after, you know, in the beginning, I would end up getting other things on top of it, like the flu and stuff, because my immune system was just, it was trash. And so it just wasn't, my immune system, I'll get better. My immune system just wasn't good because of all the other things that were going on. And so it's really cool to be sitting here on the other side of the room and like looking at where I was sitting and how done and how tired and how exhausted I was of the fight and the life that I had to be living because there was no other option. And now here I am, and I was able to spend an incredible summer like with my friends, and I went to a camp, and I went whitewater rafting and zip lining and was able to run and jump. And I mean, that feeling of spinning to the left always lasted for 553 days, and I used to like swear that I was never ever going to spin again. And like now I'm doing so well that like I had a dance party the other day with my nieces, and I'm spinning them around and like jumping up and down. I mean, I was like 2 years behind in school, and I was able to take my ACT and do well on it. I'm getting to go to college on time and not have to like get a normal college experience. I used to never be able to, like, when I would have to go to doctor's appointments, if I ever had to fly there, even just like driving through the mountains, it would be excruciatingly painful for me because of all of the pressure that I would feel. And now I like can go, I've been on airplanes by myself, I can walk the airport and carry my own bags and like fly and be totally fine. I don't know, it definitely could be easy to be sad about how far I've come, but like I'm so just like it was just like so joyful, you know? That's like this was like my high school, and I learned so much, so much, and now we're having a fun summer. Yeah, honestly, it's just cool, like the fact that I'm living now. When I first started coming here, I wasn't living. I was alive, but I wasn't living. I would wake up and my mom and my dad would help me, you know, they would make me food and bring it to me, and they would drive me to where I needed, what the doctor that I needed to go see that day, and then I would go home and I would sleep. And the saddest part is, like, for me, that was fighting really hard. Like, I fought so hard just to, like, sit up in the morning. I was so exhausted and in so much pain, and it just felt like it was never gonna end. You know, those like first 3 months before I came here of being like not able to function, it felt like that journey was never gonna end, and that was like really tough for me to be living there. And so like to be through it and on the other side now, it's really just like I'm just so full of joy of how far I've come. And like it was definitely hard work, and I had to fight hard and, you know, like get up and do all these things that, you know, the doctors here wanted me to do, and I had to show up and be ready to work hard, but I was able to do all of that, and now like I truly am able to live. I am like alive, but I'm also living, and I get to run and dance and jump and just like do all of those things that I wasn't able to do before. And going through the whole process and the whole journey, it was tough and it took a long time, but it also made me so grateful to be on this side of it and to like get to be a human being that gets to live. The people here and the doctors here are so smart and so kind. Like, they're just truly kind people who care about who you are as a person, and they will go out of their way and spend time to help you. And I mean, I have met people while I've been here who struggle and with all different kinds of things, and I've seen people who come in wheelchairs. Like, when I first walked in here, like I was in a wheelchair, and now here I am, you know, like walking out, and like that's how I've seen people come and that exact same thing happen for them, but also like just all over the place. I've seen people come and they have had, you know, symptoms from all across the board, and they come and they get better, and then they get to go back to living their life again. So I truly would recommend that if you're struggling with any of these symptoms, just like the intracranial hypertension or POTS or brain fog or just cognitive things, coming here is really what gave me my brain back. You know, they gave me back my mind of the way that I'm able to think and process. Just like working with all the different parts of my brain that were not functioning the way that they should have been. Kind of that really truly did give me back my brain and gave me back, you know, like who I am as a person. It made me feel like I was me again. I truly would recommend that you come here. Like, they are the best doctors and the best people that I've ever met. They really make you feel like family, and they just make you feel like it's gonna get better. You know, the first day that they meet you, they instill this confidence in you that they're not gonna leave you just like hanging or stranded. They're gonna make sure that like you get better, and they're either gonna do that themselves, or while they're working with you, if they find something else that like you're struggling with that they aren't able to like fix, and they're going to send you to the doctors who can, and they'll spend time finding the best doctor for you and making sure that it'll be good for you. And so it really is just an incredible place that changed my life, clearly. And I'm able to sit here like so full of joy and just like happy and I'm just like really happy to be through it and be on the other side. And I'm sure like if people are watching, like if you're where I was at, I know that can be a really like dark time, and it can feel like it's never going to end, and it can be hard and depressing and like so exhausting, just like the fight of it all, of feeling like you just like don't want to be going through anymore. And so like I would recommend that you come here, because they can make that fight stop, and they can make it better for you, and they can give you your life back. So yeah, thank you for watching.